In this video, we're going to take a look at what is known as the command line. Now you will also hear the command line referred to as the CLI or command line interface. Sometimes you'll hear the console, the terminal, or the shell, depending on who you speak to and what operating system you are working on. Now they all have slightly different meanings, but we won't get bogged down in this detail for now. For now, we can think of these terms as being a way of a person, like you and me, interacting and communicating to our computer, whether you're working on a Windows PC, a Mac operating system, or Linux. Now the command line is one of the most useful and efficient tools we have as developers, but it is often overlooked as it can sometimes feel a bit complicated when you're starting out. But to put things into context straight away, let's suppose I ask you to navigate to your Pictures folder on your computer. How would you go about doing this? Well, if I were to have a guess, you would probably do something like this. You would open up the File Explorer on your computer, and then you'd click on the respective folders until you get to the Pictures directory. So in my case, I can click on this PC, and then I can click on the Pictures folder, which takes me to the folder I wanted to get to. But one thing you may not have thought about is the following. Most operating systems have two different types of interfaces that users can interact with. The first is the graphical user interface, or GUI for short, and this is where a user can see things on the screen, click on them, and the computer will respond to those events by executing the corresponding task. Exactly the method of navigation we've just seen. The second is the command line interface, or CLI for short, which takes commands as inputs in order for the computer to execute tasks. So if I just take a look at the Pictures folder's properties, you can see here under Location that the Pictures folder resides within the C drive, then a folder called Users, then Tom, then Pictures. Now in this folder we have two further folders, one labelled Camera Roll and one labelled Saved Pictures. So let's now observe some basic command line syntax to enable us to programmatically move through the computer's directories and get to the folder locations that we're searching for. So firstly, if you're on a Windows PC, to open up the command prompt, all you need to do is go to Search and type CMD. And this should then bring up a command prompt app which you can then open. If you're working on a Mac or Linux, then you will need to search for the terminal in order to navigate your computer using a CLI. Now the commands are slightly different depending on the operating system you use, but I'll highlight what you need to type depending on the operating system you are using as we go through these examples. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is that by default we are in the C drive and then the users directory and then the Tom directory. Now you will be in a different default path, but what this means is that you are currently in that directory and you're ready to navigate your computer. So to start, let's find out what directory we are in. We will sometimes want to know what folder our CLI is in. So to do this, we can type CD if you're working on a Windows machine, which stands for current directory, or you can put PWD if you're working on a Mac or Linux, which stands for print working directory. This will bring back the folder that you're currently in. So wherever you are, you'll be able to type this syntax to see where you are based. Now how do we know what files and folders are in this directory? Well, if you're working on a Windows machine, you can type dir and this will bring back a list of contents in this respective directory. So here you can see I have a lot of subdirectories. One of them is the Pictures directory. Now if you're working on a Mac, you can type ls and this will perform the same operation. Now in order to move around and enter a different folder, you can put cd, then a space, and then put the subdirectory you want to go into. In this example, I can put cd, then a space, then Pictures. Once I do this, if I then put dir again, I can see what directories form part of the Pictures directory. And as predicted, we can see the two folders respectively, one labelled camera roll and one labelled saved pictures. You can type the same syntax on a Mac, so CD, then the folder name to navigate accordingly. To go back up a directory, I can type CD, then a space, and then I can put 2 dots, which is also the same for Mac users. So this then takes me back to the Tom directory. It's also worth noting that if I wanted to navigate to a specific folder path that was a little longer to type, I could put CD and then a space and then paste the long directory path into the CLI. Now, a great feature of the command line is its auto-completion, which can speed up tasks. So seeing as I'm in the Tom directory, if I knew I wanted to navigate to a directory that started with a P, I could put CD and then a space, then P, and if I keep pressing tab, it will cycle through all of the possible options that I could navigate to, and as you can see, pictures is one of them, so when I get to pictures, I can press return and then I'm in this directory. Now sometimes you will type a lot in your command prompt and it will get a bit messy. So to clear the contents, all you need to type is CLS and then you will get a clean page. And as you can see, I am in the picture folder in which I can then access a specific file. Now the reason this is good to know is because we will run Python scripts from the command line. So it's handy to know a few of the shortcuts to help you navigate to the location where you save your Python scripts down. That will do us for the command line basics. There's plenty of material online if you want to take your learnings of the command line further. In this course, we will be using the power of Jupyter Notebooks to support our learning of the Python language, so in the next couple of videos, we will introduce Jupyter Notebook and take a look at some of the basics we need to know before utilizing it in the rest of the course. So I'll see you in the next video.